Hello, welcome to New Gameplay Today, and I'm one of your hosts, Wesley LeBlanc. Today we are joined by Marcus Stewart.
Hey, what's going?
And Kyle Hilliard.
I'll be going by Rah-Rah Kyle for the duration of this
I've always called you that, so that's very fine with me. But yeah, speaking of Rah-Rah, we are checking out a game called Rah-Rah Boom, which I had the chance to play a little bit of, and I had a really, really good time. As you can see, it is a beat 'em up, and the premise is basically four cheerleading ninjas are in school to fight against an AI threat that basically destroyed Earth. Because the AI was like...
Another one of these, huh? Right, yeah. Marcus?
The AI was like, okay, you want us to fix Earth's climate problem. The solution is defeating humans. And so that's what they did. And now you're trying to fight back against the AI that the human race created. And you're doing it by just beating the crap out of a ton of robots.
I have actually just been listening to Blank Check podcasts, commentaries, the Matrix movies. So this lines up with my current interests quite well.
Oh, that's awesome. There is a...
That's right, the Wachowski siblings, their cheerleading movie. We all remember it.
But yeah, so the first thing I want to point out that is my favorite thing about the game, because I'm not good at beat 'em ups, is the lanes. They're kind of built into the maps diegetically, but like they're pretty clear as well. But I don't know, I feel like a lot of beat 'em ups don't do that, and I struggle a lot with like lining up my attacks in beat 'em ups, so seeing enemies on lanes and knowing where you are on the field has like been super helpful. To not
so you're like not punching over people's heads.
Yes,
stuff,
yeah.
Right?
I mean, I definitely still am. You can see that I'm dying a lot, but the lanes are supposed to be helping, and they do a bit.
That's always been most annoying with flying enemies in beat 'em ups traditionally.
Yes,
like you're like jump kicking to death, trying to like I think I hit him. You're like you're just whiffing it half the time. So I hope the lanes helps with that. But yeah, you're right. I'm a huge beat 'em up fan, and that has historically always been sort of like the biggest headache that you just sort of accept from the genre of like that's just how it's going to be. It's cool to see a game like actively trying to address that and make it better.
Yeah. So I'm switching characters like on the fly, which is not part of the game. I've just edited it that way so I could show off all four of the playable characters. But basically every character is they play similarly. Like they have a short attack, like a long range attack, and then a like a gun of some sort. But they each kind of feel a little different, which is something I appreciate. But like if you master one, I get the sense that you're gonna be able to play them all really well. And the game seems, I don't know if it's on the shorter side, this is only 1 or 2 levels. But I mean, I feel like most beat 'em ups are meant to be played multiple times with different characters.
Yeah, depending. Or at least if you have friends to do that with.
Oh, well,
so you're saying they all
friends.
like they have the same button inputs and stuff like that? Is that kind of what makes mastering one make you play well at all of them?
Yeah, and they kind of do similar combos. Like if you do this combo of buttons, they'll launch an enemy into the air, but V does it with like her riot shield thing, whereas other people might like uppercut someone into the air. But yeah,
kind of like a little bit of the Smash Brothers approach, right? Like everyone, they play differently, but at the same time, it's like well, if you know what you're doing with one, if you know how to jump 3 times with one character, you can probably do it with another.
Over 20 years ago,
that launcher looks cool. I'm assuming this game you can do a lot of pretty good air combos just based on that launcher.
Yeah, I think so. Again, I'm not great, so I was I kind of stuck to the one that I learned, but yeah, there's like a lot of room for combos. I actually interviewed the founder and CEO of Guile Games, Chris Bergman, and he told me that this is inspired by like the X-Men's and the Simpsons and kind of like the classic 80s and 90s arcade games, but obviously with some like modern systems working behind it. Something I do want to mention that I thought was really cool that I learned from talking to him is he calls himself a domain collector. Like he just, if he thinks of something that might be a cool domain, he just buys the website. And he bought Rah-Rah Boom in 2008 because he liked the alliteration and the way that the words sounded like phonetically. And so he's had Rah-Rah Boom for over a decade, and then around 2019 or 2020 they started developing what Rah-Rah Boom is now. So this is fate or destiny or something like that. I don't know, but I feel like that's a really cool little story.
Just cashing in on that investment.
That's funny.
Right?
So you would just come up with like an interesting phrase and be like, "Let me go lock that in. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I need to." That's funny.
That sounds like me when I was in game design school, where we just came up with titles and then built a game around it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because I was curious, like talking to him, I'm like, so what is Rah-Rah Boom? Like, it doesn't really give you a sense of the game necessarily. I guess like Boom is kind of beat 'em uppy, but I don't know. That's the story behind the title.
It makes me think of that Lizzo song. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Go ahead and sing it for us.
Blame it on the juice. Blame it on the juice. Rah-Rah Boom. That's not what she says, but it sounds like it.
Okay, yeah. I thought you were doing Blame It on the Alcohol by
I thought that's where you were
Jamie
going to.
Foxx and
Like, that is a different artist.
I mean, it's the same premise, you know. It's like two developers both made beat 'em ups, but they're different. That's what that Lizzo and they both made songs about blaming it on alcohol, but they sound different, you know.
So, we see a lot of the ninja side of things with them being like awesome martial artists. Is there any like cheerleader specific abilities that sort of highlights that half of the equation?
Nothing that really stuck out to me as like cheerleader-esque, but I mean, I guess like acrobatically. I mean, they're jumping and doing flips and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, ninjas do that, but...
Oh, that's true, yeah. I think maybe the cheerleader is like what they're doing in school when they're not
like
killing
the story
robots
stuff.
kind of thing. Yeah, I only got like a little taste of the game.
Yeah, I didn't know. Like, is there like a pep rally you can do? Are you cheering each other on if you play multiplayer or anything like that? Pom-poms.
That would be cool, actually.
Stacking on each other to form a human shape of some sort. All the classic cheerleaders. We've all been there. We've all been cheerleaders.
There is co-op, I believe. I believe it's 4-player co-op. I didn't get to play any because it is one I'm on PC and it's just local co-op that I had available to me. So, and again, I mentioned earlier that I don't have friends.
Oh my!
So I didn't have anybody to come play.
Wesley, are you trying to get us to be your friend? Is that why you keep telling us that?
Maybe, I don't know. I'm just mentioning I don't have friends, and if two people who want to play games with me want to play games with me,
no, I'm busy that day. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, that's okay. All my friends
got cheerleading practice on the
busy that day. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that it is only on PC right now, and I did ask about a console release because that's where I would like to play this, and they just said that they only are talking about a PC release for now. But yeah, I don't know. I'm hopeful that this comes to console. I feel like beat 'em ups need to be on as many platforms as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they exist, but I can't imagine there's a lot of PC exclusive beat 'em ups just because they're so console friendly, and odds are they're not generally the most like graphics intensive games. It's like they tend to be like you can move them anywhere because a lot of them are like 16-bit or just smaller scale in general. But you had an A though, by the way. Congrats on
congratulations.
That. Yeah, good job.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a favorite character of how many characters? It was like 4 of them?
There's 4, yeah. Saida is my favorite character, for sure.
Robo cop looking?
Yes.
Okay.
On the skates?
Yes, like kind of skates, and then she also uses like energy sword type things. I was just best with her. As you saw, I got an A. That was the only character I got an A with, so naturally she's my favorite. But there's also Aris, who is in the skirt and red and white jacket. And then there's Ren, who is on the, right there. And there's V, who's the one with the shield.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so I included these scenes because there's like full voiceover in the cutscenes, and I feel like that is I don't know if unusual is the right word, but like a fully voice acted beat 'em up kind of stands out as rare to me, at least, as someone who kind of just watches the genre from the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
And they're all like really well voice acted, and that's something that Chris Bergman, the CEO, talked to me about with this game, is that like beat 'em ups tend to kind of put the story to the side in favor of gameplay. And gameplay is king here. Like they made that very clear, but they wanted to inject a lot of story into this beat 'em up. So you're not just moving from stage to stage with just no real explanation. Like you can expect cutscenes with voice acting in between different stages and progressions in the story, which I appreciate. I think that's maybe something that I need to like get more into a beat 'em up.
Hey, this looks interesting, like in a chase sequence.
Yeah, so this is another thing, is not every stage is like a traditional beat 'em up type thing. So you're playing this like a beat 'em up, you know, moving left to right and taking out enemies, but obviously you're running.
You scared me there for a second. I'm sorry. You got stuck behind a thing.
But yeah, so you can see that like the goal here is to kill this robot, but you can't attack him directly because you can't attack behind you. So you have to shoot these robots on the path that he is trying to attack. Which, yeah, fun little switch up in gameplay, something I enjoyed. And this is within the first like 15 minutes of the game, so
oh wow.
I'm hoping and I imagine that there's more unique stages like this.
I do like the lane sort of gameplay. It's really shining now too, with the sort of the way it's attacking and stuff like that. I think that's actually like, it's just from watching it sort of passively, like that seems actually like one of the big sort of smart changes to the genre that I think will pay dividends for the full experience. Is just like dropping everything in the lanes.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's I mean, that's like the highlight for me as someone who is not good at beat 'em ups, and I feel like making a beat 'em up a little easier to read is important for getting like new players on board. Mm-hmm. And I think it's doing a pretty good job. I still had like the struggle of you know, lining up my hits and stuff, but it wasn't like a deal breaker for me, and it felt a lot better.
That's good.
But yeah, that is Rah-Rah Boom. It is coming out exclusively on PC, and it's due out later this year. No release date or window like that. So yeah, keep an eye on it. And if you're reading the latest issue of Game Informer, or the one that's coming out soon, you can read my full preview on this game, which features a lot more information about like the behind the scenes development. But yeah, thank you both so much for joining me today.
Of course.